Si's Super Simple Recipes, number 25. Fish stew. It's a sort of cross between a stew and a soup. Now I have to tell you, Simon is not a fucking happy bunny today. Once again, I've come up against the utter incompetence of the NHS. I'm trying to get my wife home from hospital after 14 months and they just keep throwing obstacles in the way. So despite all yesterday's good intentions, today I'm having some comfort food, because if I don't, I will just want to get smashed out of my skull. So, what I've got is some fresh parsley from my herb garden, a couple of bay leaves, I've got a fillet of cod, and I've got a fillet of smoked haddock, and a few prawns. The prawns will just be added right at the end, simply as a taster. I've got 2 potatoes which I'm going to mash, some fish stock and some milk. So the first thing I've got to do is prep these, make up the fish stock, and I'll come back when we've done that. I've peeled and diced my potatoes and I've made up about 1.5 pints of stock using 2 fish stock cubes. Just want to make sure it's all got in there. It's all dissolved away. Right, so we get that on the heat first. Bring that up to a boil. Bum, 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 bum. So in the fish pan we want a small knob of butter, doesn't have to be a lot. Some milk. And you're going to have to watch this because milk tends to boil over really easily. We're going to pop a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. I'm going to wait for that to come up to a bubble as well. Meanwhile, our potatoes can go in. And they're going to take about 20 minutes. This is one of Gail and my favourite dishes. It's a good comfort food. Normally we'd serve it with a load of crusty bread, but I am attempting to cut down on the carbs. What a joke. Now once again, fish is supposed to be slightly undercooked, but I'm going to actually cook it until it starts to flake, because we're going to break the fish up to add to the soup when we're finished. Right, so into our mix goes a lovely piece of smoked haddock, a lovely piece of normal cod, a couple of bay leaves which we'll pull out after we've finished, and any fish juices that have run off, because they'll be full of fishy flavour. Right, they can turn down a bit, and I'll come back once we've got some of these cooking off. Our fish is cooked through now, so I'm going to turn that off We're going to lift out the bay these, so don't need those. I'm not sure where the other ones disappeared underneath the fish, I think. And we're carefully going to lift the fillets out. And this should be ready to flake and fall to pieces, which is what we want. Now I know I'm putting them on a plate with the still uncooked. Well, they are cooked prawns, but they're not going to be there long enough to make any difference. But we're going to reserve that cooking liquor, which is now full of, well, beautiful flavours of the fish. So I'll now come back once the potatoes are finished. Okay, our potatoes are now done. Turn those off. Get my tea towel. And we're going to throw them off, but we want to reserve the cooking liquor, which is basically a nice fish stock. So into there, we're going to put a knob of butter. And we're going to put a little drop of cooking liquor from the fish. A little bit more, I think, just to get that started. I'm going to give that a really good grind of salt and pepper. It smells nice already. Then we're going to get in with our masher and give that a good mash. Because once again, that's going to form a thickening agent for our soup. I know there's some carbs in there because there's potatoes, but at least they were boiled and not fried. We want it to be reasonably creamy. As ever, test your mash. That's good. We're going to put that onto a really low heat. And then we're going to start, where's my whisk gone? I'm going to start by adding cooking liquor from the fish. I've put my whisk down somewhere, and I don't know where I put it. And we're going to start amalgamating our mashed potato with the fish cooking liquor. And again, you want to try and get it so there's no lumps in it. At that stage, start adding back in the cooking stock from the potato until you get a consistency for your soup which is to your liking. enough. At that stage, add some of your chopped parsley. We need to test the seasoning, make sure it's what we like. Oh, it's lovely, beautifully fishy. Very good. So we'll bring that up a little bit more, just till it's just bubbling. And I've broken the fish up into bite-sized pieces. So add in the fish, and you have to be careful at this stage, because if you stir it too much, they'll completely break up, which isn't really what we want. So probably just a gentle dispersing of the fish. We'll let that come to a bubble. You can reuse the fish stock. It will keep in the fridge, but not for too long. And like I say, this goes really well with some crusty bread. Wow, that's fab. Just waiting for it to bubble a little bit. It's just starting to bubble on this side. So now you can add your prawns in, turn your burner off, and the residual heat in there will be enough to warm the prawns through, because they're already cooked. Size super simple fish soup. Job done.